So yesterday afternoon, drove up here and with the Doka, obviously, went down this ditch here and was trying to pick a good line up the other side there because it's a, there's a step, as you can see. But as I started going up this, I started to spin tires, and so there was no question I was going to make it up. Don't think the fronts were turning, and it just spun as though it were a two-wheel drive vehicle. So I backed it up, back up this hill. Tried to back it up. There were a few more boulders on it yesterday. Cleared them off in today's activities. But this cable here, I don't know, this might have been left over from some previous extraction or something or another. Anyway, I was backing up the hill and it's getting stuck. Spinning tires and sliding off the edge here. So it basically just slid over into the desert and there was no getting back on. So I looked down there, should have scouted it better, looked down there and thought, hey, I'm gonna back down into that arroyo and drive out this way. So started backing down, and you can see the oil line, and tucked behind this little sage bush right here was a big boulder. And so I bashed, with no skid plate, I bashed my oil pan, and luckily I saw it right away and turned it off right about in here somewhere. Went down, got that Patriot from Enterprise, bone stock, nothing off-road about it other than it does have four-wheel drive. And came up last night and put a bunch of RTV on the big gash, thinking it might slow the leak and I might be able to drive it out of here. So this morning came up, I poured oil in it and it would drive, but it was stuck. So we hooked onto the back of it and I drove the Doka and Karen drove that Patriot, and we started pulling it, and while I was driving it, and it just slid sideways, like on snow or something, over this rock, and then got wedged on what used to be a Joshua tree right there. The rear tire was right around here. So I took Karen back home, came back up, and tried to drive it out. I cut this Joshua tree down, moved a bunch of boulders, as you can see, shoveled things out, then discovered that the shift linkage was bent. I couldn't shift it, so I took the shift linkage off and shifted it by hand, found the Galenda gear, forward gear. Couldn't find reverse. I thought reverse might have been that's a shorter hill and I might be able to pull it the rest of the way, but couldn't. So drove forward this way, and and just a repeat of yesterday. It looks like it's all locked up in the front and everything, but that's not the case. Got up here And you can see this battle zone here where it just dug in with the rear tires. And in fact, I don't think the rear lockers were even functional. So here it sat. So I got that Patriot back over there and a bunch of toe straps, and worried about getting it stuck so it wouldn't pull it out. So I tried to do the old mountaineering tactic of dangling this Patriot off over the other side. This is a ridge right here, so dangling it off over the other side of this ridge with the rope on it down there, which I did. Started to pull it out a little bit. I got out to come along and then spent a couple of hours with the Patriot hanging off over the side so it would, I wouldn't just jack the Patriot along, skid the Patriot along the ground, but use the come along and spend a couple of hours slowly in a hot sun jacking the thing up this hill. And I relocated the Patriot at one point. Actually used the come along to pull it up from that cliff, and then got the Doka right here and parked the Patriot down there, put the oil that I had left, a few quarts, into the Doka, climbed underneath it and put it in a G again. Would have been nice. It might have been smart to spend time and find a better gear like 1 or 2, and then drove it down that hill. And in fact, I coasted most of the way, so it's most of the way down there now, and shut it off on the side of the road and spent a couple of hours coming up here. So that's the story. Oh, looks like I gotta pull those carabiners, which luckily I had. Nothing else would have worked in that hole. As far as I can tell, that's the only thing that you can clip to on this little streetcar here. Oh, there's some thunder. Okay, that's the story. Fun.